So Trump tweeted out today that he's going to take action against Google because their search feature is biased. He cites a report showing that 96% of all news sources you get when you type in Donald Trump into Google search ends up being negative stories about him or from outlets that are left-leaning and negative against him. I think that the important part of this story is I don't know if it's a good idea for Trump to take action. Probably not a great idea for him to be tweeting about this. But what this does is it illustrates that consider how the mainstream media is overwhelmingly against Trump. Evidence shows that over 90% of the stories on mainstream media are negative to Trump. Now we know that where people go to get information that's not these biased left-leaning mainstream media pages that don't like Trump is they go online to alternative news sites and things like that. Now we find out that Google, in addition to stories we've heard of Facebook, Twitter, other places like that, are all censoring conservative news stories, and now we see that Google's possibly redirecting any searches 96% of the time negative towards Trump. Consider what a barrier that is to overcome from not just Trump, but conservatives in general. You can't turn on the TV and get news because 90% of it's against it. Basically, you have Fox News. That's it. Newspapers are overwhelmingly left-leaning. And now the place to go to get away from that online, now those tech companies are also trying to be left-leaning. So it really goes to show when you hear numbers of how unpopular Trump is and when people have all these reasons that they don't like Trump, like many of those may be good reasons, but I think a lot of people aren't getting information on both sides because it's always an uphill battle trying to get opinions that defend Trump or defend conservatives in general to be able to be viewed by the average person because mainstream media doesn't like conservative ideology. They're profoundly left-wing, as studies have showed. Twitter, Facebook is shadow banning or trying to sway away from conservative viewpoints. Now we see the same with Google. So I think it really just illustrates why we need to have independent journalism. We need to have both sides of the argument. I don't think it's a bad thing to necessarily go to places that don't like Trump and get information. A lot of times what they say is true, but it would be nice for people to have easy access to both sides of the argument. And as we see, the less that both sides of the argument are able to be presented, the more people get upset, the less dialogue we have, the less debate we have, and the more innuendo and fake news is allowed to spread. So I think that this really illustrates that there does seem to be a problem with these tech companies going out of their way to push stories that make Trump look bad. And I think that if that wasn't occurring, I think the numbers for Trump would be much better. We'd have more stories focusing on the economy doing well and things like that. So